you're asking them. That kind of was a thought because Kristen said she was giving her proxy to either Ashley or Simon, unless neither of them was here. And it's like, and then suddenly Heather told me that Ashley wasn't coming. Well, evidently Kristen didn't know that Ashley wasn't coming if she had initially designated her as proxy. So please, people, just a point, if you want somebody to be proxy, make sure you ask them to be a proxy and don't make assumptions.
Well, the first thing we asked was if I was coming.
And
then she said.
Right, and that's the right way, you know, for right now, that's the right way to do it. It's confirming that you're going to have a voice.
Right, so continuing on, has everyone had a chance to review last month's minutes? Do we have any motions to approve?
I motion to approve.
We have any motions? 10 seconds?
I'll second. Oh, I'll third.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? All right, motion passes. All right, moving on, Ken, Treasury report.
There's copies of the statement of financial position, which has details for all of the accounts. One thing that we changed a little bit is how the cash on hand, or what's traditionally been the seed money, being handled. Because when we get small amounts of cash in, case in point today when I took the revenue for Dow, I got $22.50. Not worth taking it to the bank. So I put it in the cash box and reported it as such. So basically we'll treat the cash box like a bank account. It'll be reconciled periodically. I'll come in, I'll count the cash, reconcile the amount. When we do a show, when we need seed money, we'll take it from that cash box. Make a record of what comes out, and then when the show is done, we put it back in.
And if you put other money in there, like, and it's written in the record, what you put in.
Well,
there's a sheet in there, isn't there?
Well, it's treated like a deposit slip.
Oh, got it, okay.
A deposit slip or a withdrawal slip. I mean, you can steal something from the bank and alter them.
Or even just a post-it note with the date, the reason, how much it is.
Will the monies eventually be deposited in the bank when it reaches a specific summer date?
When there's large bills, and there's 50s, 100s, and we always seem to get a couple of those during every show. But we won't keep going I'll take those to the bank. But when the show is complete, there's generally enough cash receipts to make it worth the trip to the bank.
Yeah.
Checks I can deposit remotely. They hate it when you take pictures of currency.
Yeah, they don't.
So, anyway. Any questions on the balances?
Thank you.
Since there's no questions on the treasury report, we'll go ahead and move on to the finance report.
Do you need it? I have it.
I do have it. I have it available. All right, so the finance meeting met last week on the 2nd. All members on the finance committee were there. We called order 6:31. We did our normal financial document review. Went over purchases. We discussed the cash on hand item that Ken just mentioned as a recommendation. So we will go ahead and take a vote to approve, or
It's a vote. It's a procedure.
are there any qualms with using that procedure? Okay. Some new business we went over was ticket donations, about possibly, there was a request from one of the nonprofits who had made a donation for the, an extra, they would make an extra donation for tickets to be purchased
Didn't make an extra
or,
donation, but they were,
add-on.
they should have gotten X number of tickets because of the amount that they donated, but they didn't want it. They wanted the tickets. We give it to the community,
Correct.
Oh,
which we did. But the suggestion, and that's also something we could do in the future, but, we're really good, but I don't think the time.
Yeah. No, we had discussed it, we put a pin in it for the discussion to possibly make a recommendation later on adding that as an option.
It's basically you have to request the donor.
yeah.
Right now, it's at the request of the donor.
Sure, that
The
makes
biggest, the biggest thing is, if we've got all these donations coming in, at what point do we kind of draw the line of what gets an extra ticket, so to speak? It's like if I give a $10 donation, do I get an extra ticket? Do, you know, no, but I mean, we haven't determined like cutoff levels. That's one of the
It was
things that
something we discussed briefly, and we said put a pin in, start the question out.
Right.
Some other things that were also along that line were discount packages for tickets.
Not this year, but next year.
Not, yeah, obviously for next year, since this year's going another way. We had also discussed briefly bylaws, proposed content for the bylaws on spending. These are all obviously ideas that are going to be further fleshed out.
Nope, that one we had a recommendation put forward.
Oh, yes, for this year, we are making a recommendation that the limit be moved to $200 for the 2021-2022
May I
season.
clarify what you mean by the limit? This is on a single individual purchase for a production. I.e., if the door that you really want for this show costs more than $200, you have to get board approval first. If you really need a wig for something that is gonna cost more than $200, you have to get board approval. It's for a single individual production purchase. This does not deal with general equipment for the stage, set pieces. It doesn't deal with royalties or stipends, and it doesn't deal with anything that's not production connected.
And what is the current limit?
Right now, it's 200.
Okay.
We decided to keep it.
Keep it.
And it could go up or down, depending upon if we see that all shows that are going to be done are things that aren't going to be calling upon that they all have small casts or they all have individual very simple sets. We might lower it. But it's going to be a yearly thing that we will make a recommendation. Finance committee will make a recommendation.
We need a motion on that?
I don't believe we need a motion since we're not
No,
actually
it's only a
changing anything. It's
recommendation.
just a recommendation and keep it as the way.
I have a question. How many single-time purchases can somebody make? I mean, if I liked this door, I bought that, and I like this wig, and I bought that, and I liked this other thing, and I bought that. I mean, at what point do you say enough is enough?
Well,
So that expectation.
You only get one.
Now, the hope would be, first of all, that anybody who is dealing with making these purchases will have talked to their producer or somebody from the board to discuss it. That would be the first thing. And why, what's the importance of it? If somebody, my thing was, if Chris wanted to buy a 6-foot diameter disco ball for Alice in Wonderland, as a board member or a producer, I'm going to go, is this a necessity for the show? Or
Have
is,
one in the basement.
or is this just something?
So I guess my thought would be is we have Jay and Justin, not saying that they would do it, but they're not on the board like Chris is or even anybody else, but if they just know this $200 limit, I mean, should we put out there that if you need more than one $200 limit, you need to talk to somebody or
Well, maybe,
I mean,
okay, right now, the way we had put it into the bylaws was just kind of, it was a more generalized thing, and that's where we were leaving it. We could put a procedural point in it that in the event that more than one significantly priced item would be recommended, the board needs to review it first.
You know, maybe that's too much detail.
This is where-
250, here's what your unbudgeted expenses are. If you don't need to go over that, say you need 5 items that are $50 each.
But that's something you're gonna wind up purchasing.
I'm just saying
This is why we have a producer. This will be filtered through the producer.
Yeah.
All of it.
And each show does not have.
Because, yeah, they will have their overall budget.
It's all filtered, all of these extra questions, like, very valid. This could go up, this could go up, this, but it's filtered through the producer who represents the board and policy.
Okay, we discussed the upcoming visual that's held at MRP. So it's been changed. Okay.
Oak Park. Oh, it's in Oak Park.
Okay, so
So we don't have
must
to.
been emailed somewhere about that. All
I
right.
just noticed it.
On Facebook.
Oh, it's in
Yeah,
the,
where is it? It's in the minutes, but I didn't see it on her agenda.
The
When I
person
did
who was in contact with us, have they
Is that
contact?
Oh, I
I've been in contact with somebody.
Through Dan Hanson.
And I'm assuming that that's, I know, what she found out that they were no longer going to.
Okay, it's gonna be part-time. And then, we had discussed so it had come up that before with the Children's Workshop and Family, there's a stipend that was paid. And wasn't really sure how to manage that, so it was split between the people that went out. And we currently kept recommendations of just coming up again to divide the stipend amongst participants, obviously making sure basic financial needs like the travel expenses get taken care of first. And the finance committee is going to take that into consideration and maybe develop some guidelines for how that will be handled in the future. We also discussed the capital campaign, the preliminary report. We bring that up later. Okay. It was submitted. We noted any corrections and some input on the video as possible. And then we also discussed grants, which I'll leave that to Heather, and then we have a meeting about 7:30. All right, sorry. All right. So we will go ahead and move on to grants.
okay, here's the copy. The same one that we got, pretty much, I did all a couple of, just so you're aware that the common club grant was not awarded. It was a little disappointing. I would have a letter from the firm saying it's fine. I had sending an email as we had meetings to decide, and they decided they didn't have money that now to fund it. But that was a little disappointing. But, you know, we can go back to it later, but for now. And, it'll be, the attendance, foundation. And I had the wrong number for the rural community grant, that's 50,000, not 5,000. We didn't hear from Bidco, but nothing about whether they're awarding us anything, just some procedural stuff that he wasn't. Did see, I started to put down how much we had for donations in July, and then in August, I would say the flow of business donations coming in has flowed. So we're gonna have to make some decisions about that. But I would be happy to accept it. I didn't hold this up because I was. Okay. We sell a lot of grants. And that, Grant Watch is really nice.
And the Veterans for Wars and the Community Foundation amounts are included in the 43,648.
Yes, they are, so don't total something.
Oh, okay. There is number.
They're in the top.
Sure.
Any questions for Catherine and Frank?
We have here from our, architect.
Yes, it is.
As I said, all, everything the same.
He called me tonight. It's like, he doesn't know before we left. I emailed him again today. You were told me to do it.
Yeah.
That would be a
So I just started working. So, he said that he's just been super, super busy and he's not super. He started to, there's gonna be meeting with Jonathan Rosenthal, early next week. He wants to talk to him how much of the space out front he wants us to give to the windows. He likes the idea that it's bigger, so he's gonna put that into the drawing. But yeah, he's just gotta figure out the exact size. Really good picture. And he loves the, laser. So, he asked me which board meeting he wants after the day, and I said, no, it's probably in September. And I think he's going to try to get us something sooner than that, so we may have to have another special meeting to talk about it. I'm gonna, we have the last call time. Okay, how are we doing with this time frame?
I did
You want it faster, you're gonna have to
I
track
did
it.
happen to see Jonathan at Thursday's, downtown.
Art in the City?
Art in the City, yes, and talked with him briefly. And, he seemed to give the impression, and maybe, Tim, you can verify or not,
What?
Jonathan, when we were talking to him.
Oh, you said Paul country.
He said, he said, follow me through, I'm not worried about it, so.
Okay, good.
That was the impression that I was getting from him.
And I believe that discussion puts us into the lobby
It
project.
does.
Is there anything else of update on the lobby project?
No, the other thing that Paul said to me was that they're gonna, he said they're aware of the city community that the rest of the gonna want to contract with us, but they would set it up so that they wouldn't have to be paid, and so the city to pay us. Assuming that the city does approve our application as well, yes. So I just said, I'll pass it on. I don't have any contract on my site, straight one. They'll send us something.
Yeah.
And then we can look at it.
That's what I told him when I talked to him.
Yeah, you can talk to them.
I said you need to put it in writing so we all understand what you're trying to say, and it's not my interpretation of what he's saying.
Yeah.
Just like, put it in an email and send it to us, and we can move on from there.
Other than that, I'm gonna be meeting with the Montclair Community Foundation in September. Set up the plan, yeah, but I will, if anybody wants to go, let me know. Let you know.
Lynn?
Couple more things, for anybody who doesn't know, we did get the HES grant.
Oh, that's the one for the,
That's for
Christmas,
the
right?
computers and that sort of thing. And then, hasn't had any time off to look into whether or not we could get some kind of grant for, from marketplace or.
No, how much do you want?
I don't know, the last person that bought cookies was Heather, so I don't really know.
So the problem with that is that the prices vary so much.
Yeah.
And I'm sure with COVID, I'm sure cookie prices have gone up just like everything else.
I mean, it would
I
probably,
mean,
we could probably figure out the quantity per show, and if we only want 3 styles instead of 5 styles and things like that.
yeah,
We could come up with probably at least a quantity figure.
I have this like where it's around $200.
I
I think really, I don't want to say that's
total.
for the cookies.
But we'll, I think between Heather and I, we can probably figure out something and get to a figure.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Show because something like, when we got 8 productions, it's going to take 6.
But there's 5. Yes, she said 3.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's move along to building repairs, right? Anything to update?
No, I guess we had a big, 2 weekends of clearing out junk. So Tim has been down here both weekends, along with numerous other people, so just because I said his name, I'm sure I think I forgot you. But he really did a great job, and I don't know, Lynn, if you and Nancy probably did as well, tagged everything, so that made it very nice. We had a couple volunteers from outside MRP that joined us, so we got a lot accomplished. One thing that the old freezer out back, they'll charge us like $25 to haul it away. We got a key man that thing up in there, so,
Into it or,
yeah.
oh, I thought they needed to have it outside.
Nope, so it's a $25 extra fee for.
I remember the extra fee, but I
Yeah,
thought it
I
had to be
just have to
decided.
let them know, so I didn't order that to be picked up for that reason today, so. If you want to pay that extra fee, if a couple people can help.
For $25 to get rid of that thing?
Yeah.
I'll give you the $25 to get rid of that.
Oh, no, I don't need the one, I just need somebody to help me.
Maybe we can just-
Yeah, I know.
Someone so
People
kind.
can Pick that over. The other thing we got was we got the men's bathroom downstairs. We got those partitions yanked out and thrown away. So, now we can decide what we want to do with that room. And there's a couple of things we need to think about. Is there's little knobs up on the top. I don't know what the heck they're in the ground floor there. I might be able to bring my, yeah, the thing in the floor.
Where the moms.
Well, I know the mounts, but I don't know if they screwed it in there.
I mean, we might be able to take an angle bring, but.
But, so I have a triangle with a cutting board, so I can come down and try that, but right now they are sticking up, so if you go in there, please be careful. So, and then Ken, he took the beast down. The beast, that's what I call it.
Yes, the Iron
Yeah.
What did you get for it? 22.
Which is about right. I mean, cast iron and scrap iron's running about $50 a ton.
Seemed like a good time.
Our truck is happy with it.
Yeah, it's sort of stuff like that.
There's a lot of people that are happy with it.
We didn't have any problems.
Oh, we had to take it off by hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, big thank you to the crew that helped with that. Moving along, so
There's one other building for you last.
Yeah, the girl,
That's
the junior.
Oh, that's how. Sorry.
That would be under
Thank you later.
moving along, social media, Brittany, anything to report?
So nothing significant with our social media. I have been noticing that our live streams that I do on YouTube have only been saved in the first 20 minutes of them. So tonight I'm live streaming it also on Facebook. Hopefully that'll help, so we have that archived that way, and then I can download it and upload it, and whatever we need to do with it. So that is a little change that you might see on your social media. Couple of things that I want to just remind people of. If you need something posted, I need the information before the day you want to post it. I can't work miracles, I can't go backwards in time, and school starts for me on the 19th, so my availability is going to drop. I'm not going to be able to just put something together the day you send it and get it posted anymore. So if you want something posted on a certain date, I need the information 3-4 days a week beforehand would be great. So that it gets up when you want it instead of 3 or 4 days after you want it up. Upcoming shows that have auditions, the sooner we can get those audition dates, and unfortunately Chris isn't here, she's got a set of auditions. The sooner I get those dates, the sooner we'll be able to have them posted up on our social media, so that we can get people interested as soon as possible. I try and do about 30 days. Usually it ends up at 2 weeks because that's when I get the information. But the quicker the information gets to me, the quicker I can push it out to work. The other thing with social media, anytime you see a post from us, like it, share it, do something with it, interact with our posts, because that's how your friends get to see our posts. So it's just a way to branch out and make sure more people are seeing what we're doing. Just to hit like, comment, clicking that share button, whatever you do is going to just make other people see it. It's also going to increase the popularity of the post and the chance of it showing up at the top of someone's newsfeed that goes up, as opposed to them having to scroll and scroll and scroll to find it. Instagram's not quite as picky about things as Facebook, but on Facebook especially, you can see it, like, comment, share, do something with it, so that way we can keep that presence growing.
Have you had any luck with getting in touch with the new shows?
No. No, I have not. I did not respond to my book calls. I have not had a chance to. Yes. I got those in there.
If you feel the urge to replace any of the images on there,
Okay.
Picked out some things
Yeah.
that are close to appropriate.
Yeah, I saw the email come through and I was like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm open to anything that you want to. And that will appear on the ticket.
Perfect.
One who works at either KX or one of the places works at my school, or his wife does. So when school starts, if you saw me on contact, I can talk.
Perfect.
And the other thing is, please remember that Trinity would like to assist wherever she can.
It's hard.
Yeah.
About one that mountain. But I was thinking about starting a TikTok.
Oh, okay. I like.
And that feels like something that you would do way better than me.
Okay, sounds good.
So we'll talk about that. It doesn't have to be right away or anything like that,
Okay.
but I know that's like the hit thing right now. So.
Yeah, he has a upcoming events.
Yep.
Sponsored by Innovative. And they just need something, and they need just something 2 weeks in advance.
Okay. No, I think it's, as long as I've got stuff to send on, I'm happy to send stuff on.
It's all snail mail.
Email.
No, this one.
No, you have to send it through a post office.
I don't know if it's from the last hand, but since I wasn't here, did you want to make mention of the cover photo filter?
Oh, yes. I put together a profile frame for our 50th season. A lot of people have been using it and have put it on their profile picture, which is awesome. It's just one more way to get your friends seeing Mousever players. You just put the little frame around your profile picture.
Make it your profile.
Yep, and then it'll show up in your newsfeed, and then other people will see that and they'll be like, "Ooh, I like that."
It's on Facebook.
It's on Facebook.
Right? Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Moving right along, box office. Kevin, any updates on box office?
Box office, we have, did not get a current count, but we've got past sales going on. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $800 so far. And contrary to what it said in the about the ticket sales, they're actually open. And we are making ticket sales. In fact, I had 5 pending for Alice in Wonderland today. So the sales are active
And that's for all shows?
for all.
I don't know if there's specific
bought, red, tickets, Lowell and Latin always come to our shows. Lowell had a stroke last Saturday night. And he is in palliative care, and he's not able to swallow, so there's, no, and they won't do it too good, so. I'm good with that. Well, right, exactly.
Does anybody know an address that we can send to this MRP? Send it.
Oh, of course I do.
Hoping that.
Yeah, we have their address, if
Of
they
course.
don't need it.
Yeah, it'd be really nice, I think, because they've been such great patrons to us, if they were to send even just a card saying we're thinking of you, and we should get that.
Would someone be willing to take that on?
Well, it's Anne and her daughter and her son's coming in tomorrow. Oh, I have it. It's in the church book.
Could you pick up a nice card and just say,
Yeah.
I'm Karen?
Do you want thinking of you? I mean, or you, maybe that's better than.
Thinking of you and then in the writing, you could
Okay.
just put,
Yeah, okay, I can take care of it.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, past upcoming show reports. I don't believe we have, Justin here to make any mention of how
Nope.
it went. I saw that he does, but it is cast and they've already started on practice. For the first son. House.
Actually, we're going to send.
Just read starts.
Okay, oh yeah, they just did the read.
We have, am I right in assuming Lynn is the producer for that, since we should have one of the producer is Lynn the producer for it.
Would Lynn be willing to take on as the producer?
I strongly suggest. She's thinking that she do it, and Trinity, if you could bend her arm there. We should have a producer, especially important when it's a
I can
non-board
be the
member.
first, since I mean, we do have Sonia who is in the show.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she has the experience to
Right.
be able to follow through.
Should we send out an email and?
No,
see
let's
if-
just have Lynn be the producer.
For this first one?
If,
Okay, go ahead, Dee.
I'll buy you coffee Wednesday. I'll buy
You always
coffee
buy me coffee
Wednesday.
I will maintain.
for the show? For Dirty Works, okay, so.
It's really, sometimes it goes so smoothly, the producer can snooze, and sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes it's a battle because you want to give whatever help and assistance and advice, but sometimes people are resistant. So I'll do what I can.
All right, moving on, House, Lynn, Anthony, anything to report?
I'll take it.
Sure.
Maintenance bus will be in tomorrow morning at 8:30 to clean the carpet area of the seat. I will be here to take care of that. In addition to all of the major clean out that was done over in the garage and everything else, we also, everybody who helped, also went through bits and pieces of the building and threw out random stuff that needed to be thrown. So a lot more than just that area was actually done. I'm going to try and take down the list out front and update it because there are quite a few things that we checked off that haven't been done. And finally, a great big thank you to Abby and Trinity for being the coordinators and major workers along with their friends Peyton and Grayson and Simon and Randy and Heather and Noah in getting our green room looking very, very nice and just really proud. So thank you again to them, and that's one more very major part of things, to make our place a nicer place to work in.
So just so John, you know, the iPad is at 10%, and it shuts off. And this is it for you.
I would just
Talk
add,
faster.
on the house, you know, certainly thanks to the girls as well, the cushions are now gone.
All right, thank you. Moving along to sessions, did Heather leave you any notes on sessions already? No? Lynn, anything to add?
The soda and water that is currently in the refrigerator is on the verge, most of them are on the verge of expiration, so if anybody would like to take a second to drink their water, they're welcome to.
The water's
The water should be fresh.
I know, but it's still, we kind of want to get rid of what's currently, and yes, it can expire. So I know like, Menards has got a sale on the water, I'm gonna start grabbing some of that to stock up. I'm gonna start looking for sales coming up on the sodas to start restocking, so that by the time, the show opens, we'll have a good supply. And then, of course, we have our question about popcorn. I have not investigated the prices of the boxes, because I just haven't gotten to them.
You know, there's another thing too, that's kind of a trade thing. Like, the only problem with that is.
Those stuff drop,
All
pieces drop
over.
all over the place.
Yeah.
I noticed in downtown activity thing, that we have to get some new stuff. I noticed that Justin was selling popcorn in the box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I wonder,
he gets them from restaurants. So I think that's
There's two different sizes.
Yeah.
The summer theater switched to the small box at the end of the season.
And we
because
talked
they
about
ran out of good box.
We had talked to going with, the normal size box,
Yeah.
raising the price to $2. So, it's, right now, it's just a matter of checking the two prices, finding out whether it's better to go online or pick it up here.
And Lynn and I had discussed in private, just during a family meeting, about going through, getting all the expired stuff out. And I think, like last year, or not, what was it, last year, the year before, I think it was last year, we made a list about possible things to stock. So
Yeah,
keep
it's
an eye
still
out.
up there.
We'll probably just end up refreshing that.
Well, I think Nancy and I, our next project is gonna be cleaning out the concession area and pulling up stuff and probably checking to see what needs to be replenished, and then there's a list.
There was a contribution from a lady of some paper products, so they'll get that refreshed.
So, well, just keep an eye out for the list, and if you're passing by somewhere and you see something on sale. All right, moving along to the youth program. Oh, any updates?
Basically, we've been Stanley, three of us, Heather and Noah, and even Randy came in the end, and yeah, it went well. You know, and although we didn't have this bigger group as we had 2 years ago, you know, nonetheless, it was so.
a few of the girls said that they want to buy your house. So,
Kind of a long drive for that, but
Yeah.
still,
well,
Who knows?
the Lee family did.
Oh, yeah, the lead family.
So they're a little too far away now, they're down the door.
Yeah. But, you know, the sun comes up from LA.
Right.
If you haven't seen the website yet today, there's pictures and information from Stanley. So they're up there. Cool.
And, I had just said, I asked Lucy about you know, if, you know, there was anybody who didn't want pictures or wouldn't use, and she said, oh,
It might not for future events, pictures.
to maybe have it specifically, yeah.
I mean, there's forms available from all of you.
Oh, absolutely, there is.
with the actual, yeah, there's an actual photo release.
Yeah.
Right out in the,
Well, we did it right on the bottom of our audition
yeah,
sheet, so, you know, that was just kind of part of it, but since she was the one that was taking and doing that kind of thing, we figured, well, she should, you know, be the one to ask. So, but it went really well, and so now, I guess our next thing with the kids, of course, is Alice. And then in the meantime, we'll kind of get organized at two.
Thank you, Holly. Moving along, newsletter. Anything to add for the newsletter?
I sent out, mail-in with season passes, tickets for Dirty Works, and pitch on the Catholic campaign.
Well, I'm just wondering if we should also use that intro from the civil center. If we could use that in the newsletter, and then get something from Justin, you know, about the upcoming show. You know, that's probably all it needs to
I
be.
didn't do, I think, 12,000 emails a month. Any given month, seeing the month.
So, I mean, if that's what I do, is I mean, you don't leave that there, but, you know, I would move it into the newsletter and then use, you know, see what Justin wants to do, or just the basic discussion.
And just a random thing, because I heard you do it again. I think we all have to be really careful not to refer to public fences as season fences. It's just ridiculous now. But we have to start being really good about that, because people can still confuse a season pass with a
Yeah,
bus
I
pass.
did add a bunch of explanations on the different site. Of how they work, what they are. We may want to save that for discussion for doing next year. How we're gonna revamp that.
Yeah, we don't really have some ideas.
You might send it through, and we update the website to this app. Maybe we should. We have to do that.
Bless you.
There's been an update through Facebook. Otherwise, people don't go to the website unless they have to reach people. So then you're used to those updates, which is kind of cool. Or,
All right, moving along, fundraising and promotions. Signing's not here, Peter Abbey. Do you know if there's been any progress on that? On any fundraising or promotions? Okay.
yeah, no one really talks to someone about what our role is.
If you want to just touch base with her and
Really kind of
Yeah.
sit her down.
I believe I sent something to her last month about a possible fundraiser, so just checking with her. Okay, moving on, tenant building, I had a chance to speak with Aisha about tenant building, about going over there, seeing what we have, and what she has a little more, knowledge on that about possible uses and what we can do with that, how we want to move forward, whether we're going to, convert it in some way, find some way to utilize it, or if it would be wise to consider putting it on the market and seeing if there's any value in it that way. So,
We really were amazed at the amount when it's been cleared out. There's some awesome storage opportunities in there.
and I think that would be, we could definitely split it.
Consider.
So, but we'll discuss that. I'm hoping to meet with her and actually go through there towards the end of this month. Maybe present some ideas. Sponsorship, actually, here. Bylaws committee, any update from bylaws?
No updates.
Okay. Chris isn't here. Holly, do you know if there's any updates?
There's nothing at this point, you know, nothing new. We still are April 2nd and kind of getting my, you know, team organized for the, you know, things to some sort of a show. But we didn't figure we had to worry about it too much until later. We're putting it off for a bit.
Thank you. Old business, sponsorship letter update. Anyone have any info on this?
Last I knew, Kathy had done a couple of things, there had been discussions and questions, and last I knew, it was in Heather's hands.
Yeah, I mean, I sent out the third iteration of it, and
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything back from anybody to say we do it again, or, so I was hoping that somebody's gonna do something with it, but I'm not on it.
Well, is this the one?
This is supposed to be a letter that would go out to specific sponsors or specific businesses or people who had expressed an interest in being a show sponsor. It is not something that was going to blanketly go out
Right.
looking for people.
Well,
So
I had a
So
call
Katie asked me
today
to
from,
write something, so yeah,
okay.
and then I put stuff in the covers of the thing, so.
because we didn't understand
There was
exactly
an
where it
education
was.
process, and so we're not done 3 iterations of it now, so.
Okay, because today then, you know, maybe we should go back and look at all the sponsors that we had throughout the last.
We're not going to go seek at this point.
No, but if we were sending out a letter,
We're not sending out a letter.
we're not,
This is a letter to acknowledge from people who have said to us they are interested.
oh, okay, so like Reagan, my daughter said she
Said she might be
would
interested.
get.
We know
okay.
that generally Ricardo in New Mexico tends to be interested. There was another person, I think, that had expressed an interest that Heather knows. And so this was, they wanted something official.
Well, Olson Dental, I spoke to you, copy today.
Yeah, but I'd say we'll get all that information.
Okay, well,
And if you know anybody who's interested in sponsorship, if you just wanna,
well, I think, you know, probably the biggest thing is prices.
There's no prices. This is not advertising.
Right,
It's
so,
only blanket $500.
See what we
oh, yeah,
That's the difference. It's in the phrasing. It's in the phrasing.
Okay, okay.
They got them, they're different.
okay.
I didn't mind figuring it out, I learned a lot.
Well, but, yeah, when it is finalized, if others of us could know, so if there's an interest that we might hear expressed.
Right, and I just felt like
Yeah,
that
knowledge
committee
of
needs to make the final decision
Yeah, yeah.
on whether what they got is
Absolutely.
okay or they want something
Right.
else. That's, I'm
Yep.
just out there.
The last thing I talked with Heather about, because I was the last person who tried to get myself motivated, but, was that because of the difficulties of this past year and the fact that with the wonderful grants that Kathy has been able to get to us for the year, that we are stable financially as far as putting on shows. So that even though it is not a great thing to not look for advertisers, sponsors, we don't have to be as pushy about it this year. And so we kind of made an executive short of thought that we would not actively seek out advertisers this year. But if people express interest in sponsoring the show, which would be $500 per show, that we would accept that per show. And that one of the people that Heather talked to was interested in getting a letter, just
Right.
basically saying
Oh,
this
they
is what
like
you're
that.
doing
Right.
for the file.
Right.
But because of the lack of enthusiasm on the part of the board, we included not wanting to go out and draw the boards to find people for advertising sponsors, that we would only, this year, we would only do as we individually spoke to people.
No, I mean, I think that's great. I just, though sometimes when you usher and then somebody will come and say, well, how do you sponsor a show? Just so that we all have the information, so that if somebody asks, I can say, whatever I
And
have to say.
that was what that letter was
Right,
about. was
right,
to be
that's
able to
what I'd
get
like
at
to know.
something.
Okay, well, that's good, that's good
Good to know, good to know.
You know, because, you know, off and on, well, like, for example, like the Elks always likes to sponsor, you know, the children's show.
Right.
You know, or so.
And so, as far as the last thing I know, Heather should have the iterations of the letter. I don't know if there's been a decision on the final yet, but once we get the decision on the final, we'll make sure we have copies available. Sure. They'll either be digitally or in the office, and then if you hear of somebody that might want to sponsor,
Might work out.
we can
Would
do
it
it like
be
today, right?
appropriate to put that information on the website? How do you sponsor a show?
I didn't see it on that.
Possibly.
Yeah, that would probably, I would.
Once
The
we get,
biggest, the
once we get the
biggest
verbiage.
question that kind of comes to my mind, and this is devil's advocate, because I certainly think it would be a great thing to do, is what do we do when multiple people want to sponsor the same show, but nobody wants to sponsor, say like everybody wants to sponsor Alice in Wonderland, and nobody wants to sponsor Sweet How They Love.
And maybe the websites will deal with that, and list, here's the shows that have sponsors for these shows, and don't have sponsors for these
We'll
shows.
give you maximum two per show.
I would go maximum 2 per show, because if you start getting too many,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Get
get
your
too hard.
advertising.
You have nowhere to put
Yeah, then you're just advertising.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea is no more than 2 per show. If somebody says they're interested, but the show's already got 2 sponsors, would you be interested in the show? You know, but the basics certainly would be a good thing to put on the website.
I guess I would suggest that maybe the musical be a little different category, because if we get two sponsors for a show, we've got to write some coverage for a straight show.
My
For the
concern here
musical,
is the poster. My biggest thing is when you get too many sponsors on a poster, it just clutters up the poster.
I agree with Ken a little bit here, because, you know, the musicals are, they need a larger budget, and maybe we should limit it to 3 sponsors for a musical. I mean, because obviously, I mean, we're just adding one more logo, and I know we're pushing that envelope a little bit, but it would definitely help with those larger shows.
given that the rights and royalties include $2,800. The rights and royalties for every other show, I think the highest is $975. $875 or $950.
You can solve that by charging more to sponsors.
Shall we, okay.
How about, we come up with a proposal to be able to,
I was gonna say, you know, if someone wants to make a proposal or a motion now, I would say we table this for further discussions.
Do we have a sponsorship committee, letter committee?
No, we don't.
We don't, but I think that the, if I'm not speaking of turn here, I believe it's something that the finance committee could discuss at our next meeting to make a proposal.
I mean, right now it's $500 for a sponsorship. I don't see that it would be out of whack to say $1,000 for a musical.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because then if you've got the 2 sponsors, and no, you don't get a bigger logo for your $1,000, you get the same size logo.
But you potentially have a larger audience.
But you are likely to have a large
Potential.
Plus the musical would be.
Okay, I'll open it up. I would like to motion that we do the amount for a show sponsor, boy, this is gonna be complicated. $500 per sponsor, no more than 2 sponsors per show, with the exception of the musical, $1,000, no more than 2 sponsors per show. That is my motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Any seconds? All right, we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. How many is that for yeses?
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
And you have keys, correct?
6.
She
And she did not hear your discussion,
Oh,
so,
that's-
and he's, would not be able to. So we're kind of on the line here.
Okay, so I guess for now, the
We'll have
motion
to table
fails, and we can take a discussion of it later and propose it again. Just fleshing it out a little bit maybe later.
The motion just fails with lack of a form.
My
That's
concern
actually
is
not one.
if maybe, somebody wants to sponsor a show and they're willing to put $500, I realize that from our standpoint, 1,000, is double, okay? But, if you're looking at a business sense, if all you've got to do, and you only have this much in the budget to do your, sponsoring, then you do $500, so, I don't know, it's just,
We have time to think about it.
yeah.
All right, let's move along then. ASCAP. We're not sure if an ASCAP is gonna be right for us at the time. I did reach out to them because some of the wording was iffy on if the license only covers in building. I reached out to them, I have not gotten a response, so we're not sure if it's gonna be a right fit for us, and we'll find out later. So I'm gonna reach back out to them through their main line, and that was just a response, and see if we get an answer to that.
My understanding is it's just for the,
Yeah, so it would pretty much
it's
be
the rate to do it more than that.
Oh, okay.
But licensing that we do have is for expel music, that comes through the ACT, that covers our initial music, our review music, etc. So we're fine there.
Okay, moving on, ND Independent Insurance Agents Association, do we have a skip rate?
That was Katie's,
Katie Street.
Okay. New business. Lynn, when do people actively consider doing haunted house?
This was just a very random thing that Wendy Kimball asked me on Thursday night. Wondered if we'd ever considered the idea of using the building to do a haunted house for around Halloween. Christmas, that'd be fun too. I explained to her that we have in the past played with the idea, but the biggest question comes down to volunteers, time, and whether or not the show is in process. But then I would say, I would bring it here, I would kind of open it up, and if somebody went, oh yeah, I think that's fantastic, I'm gonna do it, I hand it off. So I brought it up, it's something that we could consider. She wasn't asking for a date or a confirmation or anything like that, she just wanted to throw that.
Do we have anybody here who be wanting to maybe let us know idea for that project?
Don't we have a possible thing that we're already doing?
We have not heard from the client,
Right, but that doesn't mean
That
we
would-
won't.
and that would be another thing that would be the question. If people have ideas,
And brought up the idea of doing them all a couple of times about haunted house in July. I have some ideas, but
I mean, that's totally something Chris would be interested in, but
yeah, I'd be willing to help
She's
out.
right in the middle of production.
Yeah.
Always do.
again, it's all timing.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is getting volunteers to help. I mean, yes, it sounds fun and amazing, but getting the people down here to put it together and run it is going to be a challenge.
And we're using that's not gonna interfere with anything.
Yeah.
And then
I'll send an email to the board to see if any other board members who aren't in attendance are interested in it. And I'll let them know that I'm interested in other conferences. Okay. Moving along, Tim. Culture Fest, Minot Air Force Base.
Oh.
Right here.
So the base is trying to do, they're doing their first try at a culture fest. So basically it's, huh?
It goes into the records.
Unscathed.
Yeah, no, no, it still has a break on it. The event is scheduled for the 2nd of September from 10 to 3. It's gonna be an outdoor event at Buddywood Park on base. Excuse me, what they're looking for at this point is entertainment of almost any sort. And it doesn't have to be a cultural themed thing. I did explain to them that, we're limited on things because we don't necessarily own stuff. So, if we were thinking about putting something together, we either have to do it ourselves, like Lynn did with the MRP, or we need to put together either somebody else would do it, or whatever the case is. It is and there's no, I explained to them that there's rights and royalties and stuff like that might be involved, but there's no, but they have no budget themselves. So I didn't give them any assurances that we'd be willing to participate. I know for myself that I'm not gonna take the lead on this one. I was the messenger, and that's where I stand on it at the moment.
So, like, are you looking at skits or anything, or like singers, or?
They will do anything. Right now, they are desperate for entertainment.
Okay, are we willing to like sing a few songs?
Okay. But we need somebody who would be willing to spearhead and take on the whole thing and, put things together. Like I said, I'm not going to be the one to spearhead this. Like I said, I was a messenger, and bring it up. Let's see what people thought.
Open the floor for discussion for anyone who has ideas or would like to have a project.
Well, I feel terrible saying this because I have no talent to offer, but it would certainly be nice to have MRP's name out there.
My biggest concern is that it's very short notice, putting something together that's going to be low budget on our end.
Gerald Burnett.
I'm gonna say right up front of this, that even if we were to offer something, okay, I don't think that we should be the only thing that they're depending on.
No, they've got some other groups supposedly, but I don't know what they're gonna
So-
come through with or.
Could we do a few things together, or a few things we could pull? We still could do Abbott Costello who's on first.
That's all it goes.
That's
That goes well.
We could pull these Shaggy Storyteller things from KMRP. That's not very helpful. We could do some singers, Trinity. I might be able to twist Ed's arm, might be able to twist Brittany's arm. Things like that we could do fairly quickly with very little setup. The biggest thing, bottom line, is you still need that one person to coordinate. And after coordinating KMRP for 3 times, I don't want to do it anymore.
I thought you were gonna say you got this.
Oh, hell no.
I thought that's where you were going.
September 2nd is Thursday.
Yeah.
Calendar. Are they? Tim, do you know if there's any specifics on time frame that they're looking at?
10 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
And see.
Or like-
School
10
day?
a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And that's on a school day, so, in work day, so I don't think we can do it.
Would anybody be willing to take on the project if we had more information on
It's 10,
what they're looking for?
it's hard to.
I would say no from us.
Yeah.
I think most of the people who could be taking part are gonna be working.
Yeah.
They weren't expecting miracles either, so.
And so, yeah, why didn't they do it on the weekend?
I don't know.
It's just a messenger.
So,
I didn't set it up.
So
Yeah, they've got, I think it's probably a down day.
So since no one,
No,
looking to
the
lead
Friday
and
would,
no motions to move forward, I'd be willing to go
Actually,
ahead and send them an email that we will not be able to participate this
Yep.
year, but we would definitely like to be considered in the future.
okay,
And you might, if you send an email, mention to them that most of us being volunteers also have
yeah, no, no,
daytime jobs.
Yeah.
And if there's something that is on a weekend or an evening.
Yeah.
That we might be able to respond
Okay.
better.
I can do that.
Okay, and I can send that email, so it's coming.
I just need to figure out, I gotta get it, I gotta find his email again.
Okay, yeah.
Like when you see them
just wanna
in
get
person
the
too, I mean,
information, I'll send
in
it.
person is good too to say.
Yeah, well, he called me, I don't know exactly.
Yeah, but
Did I
I
put
mean,
his phone
certainly you
number on
want
there?
the written
I'm
correspondence,
looking
but
to
just.
say
I don't think it did. I'll find it at work. I've got
now from a sergeant.
it. Okay,
At least we're out there, they're thinking this.
yeah, he got a recommendation from somebody else.
Okay, well, that's good.
Okay, so, moving on, with the upcoming vigil for, Brian Bruce and Bren, sorry. Bren, I had made the suggestion to Heather if someone wants to motion with it, possibly
Are they,
setting flowers
now
or
that
anything.
they're in Oak Park, are they?
Well, they're going, I think there is a funeral on Monday.
The 23rd.
Yeah,
And it's at Bethany.
yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna be the nasty person. We sent for Sandy Carnac, but Sandy was a very
Yeah,
difficult person.
that's, yeah.
I don't know if we ever send anything when Tom Willis passed.
Yeah,
I don't think that we did it officially as
Maybe.
MRP.
maybe not.
And my question there is, if you think about it, as much as people knew Brandy and she was part of MRP, there are other people that have been part of MRP that have passed that we have not recognized.
Well, maybe.
And I'm just wondering
Yeah.
if, because she wasn't quite as pivotal, if
I don't know.
individuals want to do something.
Yeah.
And my
I think that's
suggestion
better.
was mainly based on the fact that the vigil was going to be held here.
Right, and then
Uh,
yeah. I think individually makes more sense.
Because
And
that's.
Kirk was, you were more, involved in grid, not that that matters, but, you know.
Lovely lady and all. but
Oh,
I
yes.
think when you think of other people who might have been recognized along the way and may not have been recognized for whatever reason, maybe we ought to pull it off.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
guess I was with Ed thinking, if it was here,
Yeah.
go ahead and do it, but if it's somewhere else. then-
Yeah, I think that's, we'll just go, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so if there's any individuals who would like to make sending flowers or any other items for the funeral, who has information on?
It's on, it
Okay,
came up today, but, was it Thompson Larson?
all right, then moving on, table agenda items, I believe there was some, motion on the outside view cameras.
Yes, outside cameras have been purchased and are currently sitting. There's video surveillance cameras, not necessarily all outside cameras. There's 8 cameras in the pit. It's an 8-channel recorder. And, they just need to be installed.
Maybe we need to wait until the facade is
You
done.
need to, probably need to wait and see what's gonna happen exactly with the facade, because, you have to fill a hole with bricks and mount them on the outside.
So I guess my thought is we could install all of them with the ones going on the facade. I mean,
The alley can be installed,
the alley,
the back door can be installed,
Are you having one in that smoking spot down there? Yeah, under dairy. I'm not kidding.
I'm not either. Oh, I
Do
found
we
patches
want
down there.
to, pass this on to building
So,
repairs?
yeah, that's fine, so I think what we need to do is, we can get a little sketch put together and then put where we want the cameras.
Because we want to eliminate.
So that's something I can get with Ken and send out, and I think we just don't do one of them on the side, but if we have the equipment, I think we should get it put up, because the back's not gonna change. The side, what we put in here, it's just the front one or two, and then.
Is it,
get going.
explain the camera to me, does it run 24/7? Does it run
Yeah, they're based
motion
off the
activated, or is it?
It's a live camera. It's fine, the camera's always on, but it records only when there's motion. And there's a bunch of setup, a bunch of configuration on it, so you can trigger where in the picture and how much motion it takes to trigger it. It's almost trigger.
It's to avoid like
Yeah,
a
well,
bag throws the alley, you don't want your motion capture that, but it's to save on hard drive space, so.
And then how long does it save?
There's a 2 terabyte drive in there.
It's quite a bit.
How many hours it will record, I'm not absolutely sure, but it's in the hundreds.
All right,
So you ran it.
At some point, we're gonna need to have it work on somebody involved. It's all low voltage wiring, not requiring an electrician to do any of the wiring.
you can always send an email that's
Is it-
happening.
Yeah.
Only outside or?
The intention was outside in the alley, in the back, 2 in the front and pointing each way,
Okay.
and then 2 in, 2 will ultimately go in the lobby.
Can you repurchase the computer and the tablet?
Computer is not in purchase yet.
You wrote grant for it, got the money.
Yeah.
We've got it all specified. It's in our-
Okay, moving on, Carol Brandskis, that's still postponed, Katie's not here. Security doors, any progress on security doors?
That was going to be postponed indefinitely
Okay.
until we figured out how much money we were spending elsewhere.
And any motion on tracking of the tickets and taxes?
I have a question on that. The last, ones that you did for the, MSC staff, I thought I saw a number on it, like
There's a code.
like an invoicing number. It wasn't a total, it wasn't cash. And I was wondering if it's just generally doing that, that maybe we could use those numbers and track it.
It's possible. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, let's take a look and see if that was what was there, because if that could be used, then there's no need to set up anything new,
When
it's
the,
just
when the
tracking
taxes
it.
are created, they're stored within the ticketing system. So, yes, they're tracked. I can give you a list of exactly which ones are out, how many tickets have been, how many tickets have been used, and give you all that stuff.
Okay, so there is a way without,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, moving along, announcement, vigil for spring breeze will no longer be at MRP. I wish I had read this sooner. They really appreciate the offer, but said one.
I have one more announcement before you close the meeting.
Yes.
We're gonna send emails out to include Abby with her email, so you can only one not getting it.
What is?
Let me confirm the email.
Yeah, so.
What is it?
Abby.
Where?
No,
You have to spell that
you
out.
gotta spell it, ABBA-LIC2.
Let me.
ABBA-NIC2
Nice. See?
Yeah.
Two, see the number 2.
ABBA.
Yep, NIC.
Oh, Gmail.
At Gmail. So, and also her last name is spelled S-P-E-R.
You looked at the website.
Same as mine.
I know.
Same as that.
Yeah.
I know, and you know, think about that until after.
I will.
If somebody else had an E on the end and I go, wow, it just doesn't look right.
Oh,
I'll double check to see if I have.
I believe I have the correct one. for you.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll add,
Yeah,
I'll add one more announcement. I have emailed those who had already expressed interest, but I do plan on having a meeting after Minauticon about the, event, or the project we're working on for MathCon, which working title is Joker Heist right now. So if anyone is interested in that, let me know. I'm still trying to set up a solid date. I put out 3 dates possible for those who are already interested. So shoot me an email or a text or whatever. All right, with that, next meeting should be Monday, September 13th. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting adjourned.
thank you, Ed.
So now is Kelly back?
Yeah, so she went and got some prescriptions today, so I'm gonna go see her chiropractor tomorrow.
That'll help.
During
Yeah,
the meeting
so
today,
she-
Ken mentioned that he's
Oh,
updated the
okay.
website.
Well, she's-